the next session on education franchises rising to the challenge of the new normal will be moderated by Mr. Soh Kar Liang, Managing Director, FLAsia. This panel of leading child education franchises will share on how they have successfully overcome the challenges posed by the pandemic and the role of digital transformation for their businesses. Kar Liang, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm very glad to be here with three very preeminent panelists who will join me in sharing about how educational franchises are rising to the difficult challenge of the current era. I have with me Rachel from Red Schoolhouse. I have Heikal from Kawabanga, and Eric Lim was very excited, so he put his thumbs up first. But yes, with Eric Lim as well from My Gym and Abracadoodle. I myself, I'm not the star of the show. I have three very important people who you will probably enjoy having watching their dialogue on. But as a very quick introduction, so that I'm not left out of the beginning of this talk, I am Soh Kar Liang. I'm from the law firm of FLAsia, and my firm specializes in intellectual property. So we do a lot of that kind of work, including in the exploitation and commercialization of IP, especially in franchising. So we are here under the auspices of the Franchising and Licensing Association, and I'm very glad that I'm here to be able to introduce these three guests. So without further ado, I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, because I think I will not be able to do justice to their experience and their knowledge in this field if I were to speak for them. So Rachel, would you like to start first?
Okay, sure. Hello, I'm Rachel Goh, CEO and founder of the brand name Great Schoolhouse. Established since 2004, Great Schoolhouse is a homegrown preschool business that provides early childhood care and education services to children from age 3 months to 6 years old. We have grown to a total of 4 preschools in Singapore and 2 overseas. Our philosophy, settling the heart, defining your child, acts as the compass for our curriculum and our corporate culture. With this, we have received several accolades and awards from big organizations and government agencies in recognition of the company's achievement in providing deep and positive impact in children and families.
Thank you, Rachel. May I have Heikal next?
Thanks, Kar Liang, and hello everyone. Heikal here from Kawabanga Global and Kids Treehouse. So Kawabanga Global is the parent company of Kids Treehouse. We are in the business of student care, preschool, and enrichment programs. Another arm of ours is actually in training. So we also do training for teachers, specifically in the area of sustainability and green movement. All right. So our unique selling proposition is we provide authentic or unique learning environments to young learners via a nature-based or eco-centric based education underpinned by the Forest School learning philosophy. So that's what we do. I know perhaps Forest School is new to all of you, which I will have an opportunity to share with you a bit more later on in these discussions. But our brand is very much centered on that. And, we hope to groom young global change makers, as we provide good education services to our students and of course to our parents forming the community of ours. We have been around since 2007, started with 1 student care center. Now we have grown to about 12 student care centers plus 2 more community-based ones. We also run a nature adventure playground in Sentosa, which is called Forest Play. So please do follow us, a bit of a selling of koyo here. Please do follow us at forestplay.sg. and get to know Forest Play a little bit more. All right, back to you, Kar Liang. Thank you.
Thanks, Heikal. Eric is probably very excited to share now, so I'll let him speak.
Hi, Kar Liang and fellow audience. Okay, my company is called Kids Consulting. I'm Eric here. Basically, what we do is we manage brands, we operate the brands, and we franchise the brands. So you can see from these slides itself, we actually manage 2 brands, Abracadabra Art Studio as well as My Gym Children Development Centers. The country below is stated there is this where we are from. We are in. So My Gym come from United States as well as Abracadabra is from United States. Yeah. And okay, so I will not go through this. Okay, so in My Gym itself, we are currently present in about 25 countries, about 700 centers all over the world. We provide 5 different kinds of programs: parents participation, independent classes, preschool prep programs, as well as we do a lot of theme and holiday program, birthday parties as well. We do physical as well as online. Yeah. And currently we are in the midst of expanding into Indonesia, Philippines, and Malaysia. And we have been in Singapore for about 15 years. This is another program called the Abracadabra. We focus very much on the process arts. So we run even online arts programs as well, mainly focused on process art. So it's quite different from the market, what you see in the market. There's very much focus on the technique itself. Yeah. So if you want to contact me, this is my contact information. Okay, back to Kar Liang. Yeah, Kar Liang?
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Thanks for sharing. I was trying to figure out how to change the video on the screen. And so this speaks of all the exciting times that all of us have been facing in this very interesting season. We are all learning how to adjust to using the camera and the microphone in all our daily routine. In the past, when we hold a microphone, it's usually at a karaoke. But now we have to do it at home, all of us. So the challenges are real and very, unfortunately, things that we're still adjusting to. Now, we have heard from Rachel, from Heikal, and from Eric. And it's very good that we have with us a very broad spectrum of business interests in the educational field. We have preschool, we have student care, we have enrichment, and we have those who represent franchisors, those who represent franchisees, and we even have, I think Eric may not have mentioned, he's also a master franchisee of the region for the brands he's representing. So it's very interesting because with that, they have all spectrum of problems. And each of them probably will come with a very different set of challenges, though some common, but some unique to them. And I think we'll have a very interesting session today. So with all that, I thought I should start the ball rolling with the simplest question of all. How has the pandemic caused havoc and created a miserable life for everyone, including you? So maybe we can hear from one of you who would like to go first. Rachel, I like your red, so maybe it's very striking. So I like the color red, it's my favorite. So you get precedence. Speak.
Okay. Let me rewind back when it first started, the pandemic, right? We thought we had SARS, so we thought we can overcome it because we had SARS, but we did not have a lockdown. So remember the lockdown, and then you have news where people get fined, people dragged by the police, the safe distancing officer. So, and as teachers, the nature of our work delivery is very human. So suddenly school is closed, you're stuck at home, lockdown. Even the word sounds scary. It was more of mental block for a lot of my staff, a lot of my teachers, some claustrophobic, staying at home. So for Red Schoolhouse especially, it's more of, in a funny way, it's more of the need to handle the psychological impact rather than the financials.
Thanks, Rachel. I completely agree with you. And looking at the expression on Eric's face, I can see that he has a lot of empathy for the psychological impact that you have just talked about. Maybe Eric, you can elaborate on that in your personal experience?
Yeah, this is actually quite severe in the beginning of 2020 when we go through this. I think I look at this whole thing in three main areas. One is the management side. Yeah, management, we actually see that I actually expected that the revenue will drop, everything, the profitabilities will drop in the beginning of 2020 where the COVID hits Wuhan in China. And in my mind, I say, oh, this time around, this is going to be tough because I went through the SARS period. But that time, I'm not in my own company. I don't run companies. I work for people. Well, I already see the impact to my companies, even they are in IT. Yeah. So I foresee there will be impact in the revenue drop and question ourselves whether are we able to meet our year-end figures or not. And that comes to how can we manage that drop in the figures and manage our costs. So the next area is that from the staff. The staff were thinking, oh, so man, how is going to impact my work, in my livelihood if this thing really go longer and longer. And really it has gone so far, right? 2 years now, right? And finally is another area will be the parents. The parents, first thing that comes to their mind is when I think last year March, when the centers are being closed by the government, the parents will ask, hey, what happened to my classes? Can I postpone? Can I refund? So many questions are coming out from there. So they have a lot of questions are coming to us that time. So even management are thinking of all areas, I would say, yeah, it can be quite stressful. Yes.
Yeah, I think stress is probably the key word. The challenges are only representations of the circumstances, but really what impacts us is the stress, definitely. Heikal, how has this stress or series of stresses been for you?
Yes, Kar Liang, like Rachel and Eric, I think all of us, have been through a rough time, perhaps this last couple of years as educational service providers. And that goes without saying too, right? Especially in the realm of education, where ideally you would want to meet up with your students, all right? Physically meeting up with them. So for us, okay, so this will be an opportune time for me to explain a bit more about what we do here in Kawabanga and Kids Treehouse. So our programs, as I said earlier, underpinned by the Forest School learning philosophy. So Forest School is a pedagogical approach where we bring students out to nature, all right, and where we get Mother Nature to become the third teacher. So as you can see, right off the bat, it's going to be challenging for us, right? Because now we can't meet the students. So as like any other, I think, businesses or educational service providers, we need to pivot. So we got on board Zoom and other form of LMS, and we get our students to do an online program with us. I must say it's less than ideal, but we had to do this, right? We want to ensure that we still proceed with our programs. We are still able to provide good education programs to our students. And therefore, we do need to ensure that they are able to proceed with us and stick to those timelines, all the schedules that we have lined up for them, so that they won't miss out on the lessons that we have organized. But to just extend on that, it has been quite challenging in terms of scheduling as well, because some of them, when we told them about this rescheduling of classes, you know how it is, right? Some parents say, oh no, I can't make it at this time. I won't be able to log in with my son or daughter at this point in time. So I need to reschedule again. So this rescheduling thing is a nightmare for us. And we do need to ensure that, yes, as we reschedule to, other students are able to join us, right? And on top of that, when we start doing this, there have been some customers or students who have pulled out from our programs, sad to say, but we anticipated this as well because we do know that most of them would want to enjoy a face-to-face program with us. So this online thing is less than ideal. But yeah, as I said earlier too, we need to pivot. Glad to announce too that perhaps about 85% of our students are able to get on board, but we do have a percentage who are kind of uncomfortable with an online mode of learning, especially through this forest school sort of learning philosophy. So those have been the challenges for us. It wasn't easy, but yeah, we do need to think of something new in order for us to connect to our students. But yeah, this something new is online learning or e-learning, sort of saying.
Interesting sharing. I hear from you like shifting to the video platform, scheduling seems to be a serious problem. But I guess one thing that I've always wondered, this thing about safe distancing, isn't it a lot of safe distance in the forest? So should be allowed to practice in the forest, but who knows what the government thinks, right?
Yeah.
So, but one thing that I thought was very interesting, the way you mentioned about pivoting and how the students and the parents, they are working with you on the pivoting. But I was wondering, how is the response of the staff? Because the staff are the people who make sure your operations carry on and your business runs. Rachel, do you have any thoughts?
Okay, like Heikal, he said that nature is the third teacher. For us, our specialty crafted learning materials, our tools, was what the teachers are so used to doing because that's part of our plus point in our curriculum. And like teachers, we are very hands-on people. They're very hands-on and human touch. So it's very difficult to conduct lessons through Zoom because it's almost one way, especially with the very young children, the 2-year-olds. So the teachers, you can see them, really, they look like fish out of tank, It's not their environment at all. And they are, the first thing they will tell me is, I cannot do it. So what we did was, we seniors, the management, we schedule ourselves to buddy with the teacher and to plan. Now that we can't use our learning tools, so what can we do creatively to meet our objectives? So we tango with them during the Zoom meets. So it's more.
Did I hear tango?
Yeah, tango.
So you dance as well?
No, that means like you talk, I share your screen, I will help you unmute which child that's a bit noisy, and all this. And then it's more again because when a staff's heart is not settled, you can have the best curriculum or you can tell the child the staff what to do. There will still be barriers. So psychological impact that we were focusing. So to show each staff that, okay, let's do it together. It's not a top-down approach. We tell you, you plan the lesson, and then we watch and we review you. Mm-hmm. So that helped us a lot to overcome the Zoom lessons. Yeah.
So the psychological impact on staff doesn't sound like a small thing. But I'm glad that you've managed to find some solutions to partner with them and work things out. Eric, what about yours? Because your setting is a bit different as well. You're in a retail space, which is unlike a preschool or the forest. What do you have to share with us on this?
I think during that time, as what I think Richard said, one thing actually resonated with us how we do it is we actually talk to our staff. And we tell them we play out the scenario in front for them to see, and we ask them, so what should we do? Yeah, so they are a group of, because we are in the gym setting, right? So we have a group of very fun people, crazy people, very innovative guys. Sometimes they can make you laugh the whole day. Yeah, so they think of, hey, why don't we do videos? So within that short span, I remember last year March, where government announced a lockdown 3 days before the actual closure. So within that 3 days itself, we selected a couple of teachers. We don't need everyone. If everyone, then it's too crowded in the center. So we select a couple of them. I think probably about 5 or 6. I can't really recall now. And one of them will act like a cameraman. One of them will actor, actresses, directors. And before that, we need to plan all the programs. It's because we don't have any online program at that time. We never thought of online because physical is hard to do online. So within that short span of 4 days, 3 days, we have to design the whole programs, and we start to shoot the videos. Everyone is just like brand new role, being actor, actresses, and have to prepare all the things and memorize the script. And sometimes they have to use their own script. We don't really like a movie program. You scripted everything. No. So because they have been running the class so much, and they become very natural to them to perform in front of the camera instead of in front of the real parents and children. So within that 3 days, I think we created about 44 videos. Yeah. Wow. And we have to edit them, you have to plan them, and I think I really salute my guys that within such a short time, they can shoot 44 and then have to recreate, like recording, re-recording. It's a lot of work. I think it's really amazing that we tie through that period, then we provide this video onto the market to our customers at the time.
Wow, 44 videos in 3 days.
Yes.
I think MediaCorp needs to give you a very, very big salute. Or maybe you're in danger of staff attrition because they might be poached by MediaCorp.
That's pretty amazing.
Watch your people carefully, man.
Yeah. That's why I sort of quite surprised when they do 44 of them. What a number, they're 44,
But
so
that's
I can remember
amazing
forever.
story, an amazing pivot. I mean, responding to a challenging situation like this in force, and being creative about it. Heikal, I'm sure creativity would be something that you all have had to contend with as well. Perhaps you could share your story.
Yeah, that's true, Kar Liang. So what Eric said just now is really true. So we do need to also, so when you pivot, you need to ensure that you pivot effectively, right? So the way you do things, all right, the pedagogical approach when you do face-to-face versus online learning, these are two different things. You can't and you won't be able to just transplant what you do in the physical realm to the online program effectively. You do need to change, you need to adjust a bit. So for us, the curriculum delivery is now done online as opposed to physical, right? So you need to change that. So in terms of content as well too, we need to adjust a bit. Because what you do again face-to-face is very much different on how you want to deliver these lessons online. So we had to come up with new content, or rather adjust the content. So that's a bit of work for our teachers there. And on top of that, we also looked into other applications. So to ensure that our student management or our learning management systems, they are done well. So even these days too, we are looking at another system that can help us do this online learning better as we move forward. And correctly pointed out by Rachel and Eric as well, in terms of getting our teachers to be ready. So again, right, as what Rachel says, some teachers are really uncomfortable in doing this. So we do need to train them. So that's also another thing that we have to do to ensure that they are able to conduct effective lessons online, all right? They are able to deliver them effectively to our students and not lose the essence of, forest school as well. So that is actually a tall order, Kar Liang, I must say. It's kind of difficult for us to do that, but we got them to do trainings with us. So that's how we, in a way, convert them to become online teachers. And of course, when they are, when they have a bit of a trouble in adjusting, we do have our own, we call it the Kawabanga or Kids Treehouse Circle time, where we get in touch with our teachers and ask them about their mental health and how has it been working from home? Are they okay? So that's how we check in with them on a regular basis. just to ensure that the teachers are fine, they are able to cope, while doing their lessons at home. This is on top, of what they have to do in terms of curriculum adjustment and ensuring that they have the IT infrastructure too, right, to support them when they are doing their lessons at home. So that's also another thing, right? This ability for them to conduct effective lessons with good IT infrastructure. So stability of the Wi-Fi, they have good, laptop with them. So those sort of things. But yeah, I'm glad to say that the teachers were able to adjust with our circle time and with our training, and they are able to conduct these lessons effectively as well.
Well, all these adjustments that the teachers have to go through, well, I'm quite glad to see that many of you had very positive experiences in overcoming the challenges. Well, one of the risks is when your staff become so good at everything, well, they become targets for others, isn't it? And I'm reminded of some statistics that I saw a couple of weeks ago. It claims that countries like the US are facing a serious issue right now. They call it the Great Resignation. Apparently, like 4.3 million people resigned in August 2021 itself. That's a huge number. And from the grapevine, I also hear that many companies nowadays are also facing a turnover and a strain in terms of staff's resources being available. For various reasons. I think some people are taking sabbaticals because they're feeling burnout. Some people just want to stop working. Some people just want to change their lifestyle. So in terms of that kind of challenge, how have you all experienced it or at all? And if you have seen that kind of thing occurring or even hinted at in your environment, do you have any solutions? Rachel?
Okay. Thankfully, our attrition is low, but I would credit it more to our philosophy. We guard our philosophy fiercely, settling the heart, defining your child. So we not only settle the little ones, but everyone who walked through the door. So that's very, very important to us. We are mentors for several education institutes, so we get to know new educators. But in our training, we have SOPs not on curriculum. We also have SOPs in planning soft skill training when we plan for our staff growth development. So curriculum is very task. You read my lesson plan, you do. Yeah, maybe I ask you some open-ended questions, but the soft skill training so that we look after their heart very well. And when you are confident, that's where you bloom.
So your key is brainwashing.
Hey, I wanted to say that's my secret.
Eric, what about you?
Yeah, I think that's very true. I didn't know the number is so huge in the US, and like seeing that I sit in the FLA association as well. I have heard so many news and comments from my fellow committee members as well. They say that it's similar, not only in education, I think in F&B, everywhere. Now it's really, really tough in employing staff. And you can, if you walk around the mall, you see people putting out the banner and they put how much are they going to employ this person, and this indirectly, your staff will see it as well, right?
Yeah.
Your staff will see, hey, how can I can make more money there? Why should I join here and why I go there? So I think this is a very unhealthy competitions in the market, and everybody are trying to get on their stuff. I was recently texting my fellow management team as well. I said, we have business, but we got not enough people. So how? Yeah, but thanks God that we don't have a lot of turnover, I would say. So even we have turnover, we can't avoid people from leaving our company. You can't feel sad about it. You just have to move on. And our training program, I would say, is quite solid. Someone can come in without experience, zero experience in the gym sectors or fitness sectors, we can actually train them out in 4 weeks. Yeah, to be a very good teacher already. Yeah, a very good teacher can run all kind of programs in 4 weeks. Even I train them 2 weeks, they can actually already run good classes. But 4 weeks, they become excellent teacher.
Wow.
So yeah, so I think to us, I think ours could be easier compared to the preschools like Rachel and Heikal. Yeah. So I think from that perspective, maybe a bit more fortunate, I would say, because of the training program is so much well developed over so many years all over the world. Yeah.
Okay. So your onboarding process is very fast. It would seem. So
I think our teachers are not so stringent as compared to the preschool. Preschool, you need early childhood train. For us, we no need, but our most important is whether the teachers like children or not. If not, they can't survive in our training.
So not only is it brainwashing, it's also fast brainwashing, getting them on board very quickly. Heikal, what about you?
Yeah, for us, I must confess, Kalian, that we've seen people leaving us, resignations, that is, this last couple of years. I think for some of them, it can be very challenging, especially when operating with a lot of limitations. So as I said earlier, we operate in MOE schools. So as you know, there are various restrictions and limitations to what they can or cannot do in MOE schools, and they also have to adhere to strict regulations when they are in school. So in that sense, I think some of our staff have a hard time adjusting to those sort of restrictions and the rules and regulations. So we've seen some people leaving us, but I'm also glad to announce that some of our staff are perhaps hardened by it too. They persevered on, and then they understand the entire situation caused them to be a bit more resilient and to have to be a bit more effective in schools in the way they carry out their programs and adhering to the rules and regulations of the schools. Of course, there are certain nuances in schools. So, some schools have this sort of regulations that they have to abide by, and for some other schools, they have a different set of rules and regulations. So, I think at our end, although yes, we do see people leaving us, but we do have people coming in to join us as well. And yes, and we do have the ones who stay with us, and I could see that their level of resilience, if you may, have increased along the way, and as the old saying goes, right, what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. So I think, yeah, that's what we are seeing right now. So we have a lot more teachers who are perhaps hardened by this situation, and would go the extra mile now to ensure that they are able to conduct good lessons, for their students.
So you're describing the circle of life, lah. People go out the door, people come in the door, and it goes round and round, and then those who stay become stronger.
Exactly.
That's a very interesting way of looking at it. I was wondering, I mean, you talked about all the regulations, right? Your special situation in the MOE settings. We've all been hit by all kinds of changes and regulations over the last 2 years. Some regulations changed within a matter of weeks. I think many people were sending signals that they don't even have any idea what the regulations are anymore.
That's right.
With all these changes, and especially in a very tight environment like a preschool, for example, I'm sure you had to deal with and contend with things like that. I mean, Rachel, how has that transpired for you?
Yeah. Okay. Our licensing is from ECDA, Early Childhood Development Agency. That's our sole government agency. But now, handling safe measurement policy, then sometimes MOH comes in, and then now we have the NEA coming in. Actually, the headache is more for my principals. They're so worried. They're so worried because they have to attend this workshop, that workshop. It's taking a lot of time out from our daily operations. And then there's so many checklists to do. And then we have this window period where they will come and do a surprise check. And then they tell you, okay, after November when we come, and if you don't comply more than how many points, you get fined. So and even simple thing like wearing your mask all the time. Some of our teachers, they thought, okay, like I'm not that close to the children. Maybe I can, pull down a bit. I can't breathe. I'm having headache. Or the aunties, the cleaners, they don't understand because when they clean the school and they're perspiring. So I would describe this more of just inconvenient adjustment, not stress. So what do? It's again to refocus, get everybody to, let's think together. Let's create new steps. How to close the gaps. Let's solve together, and let's just work around all these new protocols.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, man. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, in the beginning, I would say there are so many protocols, so many short forms, and sometimes we really confuse about the short forms, really blur. And yeah, I think at least 20 short forms there. Yeah, but I think recently government has do it better already. They have reduced the procedures. So in the beginning, when last year we have to close our centers, we had to have a stagger of 30 minutes in between classes. So that was actually a hit. Our class are actually fully back to back. 9 o'clock go out, 10 o'clock go out, 10 o'clock come in. That kind of back to back. There is no rest at all for my teacher. So when the government said we need to have 30 minutes, oh man, I have to cut 2 classes. So you can imagine, so precious all the time slot for us, and we cut 2 classes at least. But lately they become 15 minutes. But with these changes itself, I would say somehow a blessing. Yeah, 15 minutes is allowed us to do cleaning, one thing, and that's why the government want that 15 or 30 minutes in the beginning. And that 15 minutes itself allowed my teacher to build more rapport, more closer relationship with the customer. And as you can see, we are more like a retail, right? Unlike the preschool, you seldom need to talk to the customers that much as compared to ours. We have 200 over students going in and out like that. So talk to them is really tedious, And we have trials that come in every week and we do not know them. So with that 15 minutes itself, it allowed us to talk to them. And that in fact increased our conversion rate, I would say.
Oh.
So in that sense, it's better. So now we are sticking with 15 minutes. And the teachers have a little bit more rest in between. Yeah.
So not everything is bad. I mean, when you face challenges and when you deal with them, there might actually be positive effects. And if we focus ourselves on all the hardship, we might actually forget that, hey, positive results might come out, like you are able to close more deals, right?
Yeah.
Heikal, what about your experience?
Yeah, for us, it's more of the adjustment of ratio of students to teachers too. So when, it's not even it's not even weeks, or sometimes you have to react within days, right? An announcement is being made, and then, suddenly next week, you have to get on
over
board.
A weekend.
Yes, right. So it's not just weeks, sometimes it's just, you're right, over the weekend.
Yeah.
And, suddenly we find ourselves, getting documents together and emailing teachers over the weekend to tell them, hey guys, you heard about this news, right? So you do need to now adhere to this new protocol, these new regulations that we are about to roll out on, believe it or not, Monday. And all of them have to get on board this new protocol on Monday itself. So
again.
yes. So that's kind of crazy, right? But that's where our teachers, I think, rise to the occasion. This is where, as I said earlier too, they are strengthened by this, and I think for some teachers they have been conditioned by this, and they understand that when an announcement is being made, so they need to react quickly to those kind of demands. But yeah, on top of that, there are costs involved as well. I think you know this. So once we start adjusting, some of this ratio teachers to students, and get a bit more of the resources out, then it's inevitable that we are going to spend a bit more money on resources, and of course, to ensure that we meet to that ratio, then we need to bring in a few more teachers to just conduct some of our programs. So that's how we have adjusted to along the way. But yeah, again, I'm glad to say that our teachers, I think over this last couple of months, they were able to adjust. I think that comes with conditioning. That's how beautiful the human body is. We can condition quite fast.
So with all the fire, I guess, your people are being refined, and so they become real gold, right? We've gone through a very long discussion. I think we've covered quite a lot of issues with all the challenges, with stress, with staff issues, and with adjusting to government regulations that are coming so furiously and quickly. I'm really glad for all the sharing, and I'm sure that the audience will really benefit from what you've said. But just to recap, I seem to hear a few very, very succinct, indirectly advice coming from your, correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear that it sounds like it's very important to think on your feet very quickly. Pivoting, I think Heikal have mentioned that word a couple of times. Being able to adjust to all the changes, dealing with the furious changes in regulations, but not being afraid as well to try new things. Creating 44 videos in 3 days, right? Wow, that's amazing, really new. And then putting your company at risk of being poached by MediaCorp. That's even more risky and dangerous. And I'm so proud that you have enabled your people to become a lot stronger. And not only that, but the courage to face problems head on, not being afraid. And Rachel, I think you've shared that quite clearly. And from Heikal, I hear that when they face things like that, they become refined. The good stay. The poor ones, unfortunately, fall on the wayside. But then you become stronger as a result of retaining strong people within your organization. Fast response, again, was what Eric has showed us. And I thought it was also very interesting, Rachel, that your brainwashing, it shows that you value your people. Yeah, brainwashing is our way of saying it, but really what you're trying to do is to help them to overcome, develop the correct philosophy, and being aware of how they can have a positive mindset and work with things. Eric, I think you shared a most beautiful story about seeing the silver lining. That's actually good, embedded in all the stress. It's only for us to go and see and identify it. So I really appreciate your sharing. And I hope the audience that is listening to this will also identify with some of the good as well as the bad that all of us already identify with. So thank you very much. So before we go, do any of you have a wise word that you could give as a pearl of wisdom to all those people who stayed behind and watched this panel have its discourse for the last over half an hour of time? So let's appreciate them. Give them a pearl of your wisdom. Rachel?
Don't forget, you always have the strength and grit to be anti-fragile.
Wow, that's powerful. Eric?
I think regardless whether there is pandemic or risk in front or stress in front, I think the future is still very bright. I have full confidence and very positive about the future. Even at this time, there are good things happening. So perceive, be patient.
Way to go, positive thinking. Heikal?
Yes. I think from me, this has been a good experience for the company to strengthen our franchise document, to ensure that we also insert certain regulations, certain clauses to remind our franchisees, of certain things that they have to do when they pivot or when such things happen. Hopefully not, but it's always good to be prepared, right? So this is a good reflection on us for us to strengthen our documents further too, to ensure that our partners and our franchisees are able, to pivot together with us. So as we pivot, we also want our stakeholders, right, and our partners and our franchisees to also pivot effectively as well. So that's very important for us. So it's something that we are looking into, and we are strengthening the documents, as we move along, in our business journey. And of course, just a quick word here. I think really all of us are able to overcome the challenges if we, persevere, and of course have this grit. And that's what Rachel said too, anti-fragility within us. I think we are able to do it.
So digging deep and not giving up.
That's
wonderful.
True.
Thank you very much for your sharing. So to the audience, have a great day.
Thank you, Kar Liang, and all our panelists.